All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. I thought I'd come in here this morning and I thought I would give you some understanding on how banking works. And there's a reason why that I'm talking about banking here this morning, because I want you to understand what's going on and the reason why I give certain directions and make certain claims. Now, I'm a leader, and as a leader, I understand that if I don't say certain things that's going to stimulate thought, that the people who have been hoodwinked and deceived are going to continue to keep functioning after the system that we've been trained by. So I need for you to listen to me very carefully this morning as I try my best to break down how banking works in layman's terms. So I'm trying to get you to see what's going on and the reason why. You know, myself, Max Kaiser, Jay Snips 4, Bob Chapman, SGT, and some of the other people out here who are continually trying to tell you why you should invest in yourselves and make sure you have tangible assets. Because there's one thing about fiat currency or Federal Reserve notes or paper money. They always fail every single time. So, you know, the names are endless of the people out here who are actually, you know, trying their best to warn us of what's going on today. So no matter who you are or no matter what walk you are at in life, give an ear and please just try to listen to what I'm saying, okay? Now, throughout history, we've had various individuals who have tried to always keep the people's best interest in mind. They have always tried to protect us from what they believe to be enemies, robbers, plunderers, looters, anyone who would try to do any type of harm or take advantage of the people. But then there's also, on the flip side, has been those who are stage players. The best, better term you can use is hypocrites. Who acted like they were for you and everything they've done was in your best interest, but in truth, they were only for themselves. It's called the spirit of selfishness. And of course, when you get finished watching this video, you should have a very good understanding of who's who and who's what. But, you know, we've had people who are always, and we're not going to ever get rid of them either. And that's just a fact because it's part of human nature. Who've always functioned for themselves while they act like that they're doing it all for you. Now, I'm going to give you banking in a nutshell, and I have a lot of stuff scattered out here on this table, from one end of this table to the other right here. You can't see it all right now, but I'm going to be pulling it and using it and trying to give a little bit of examples here this morning. I'm going to try to keep this video as bare minimum as possible, but I want to try to bring understanding. Now, some time ago, the people were deceived into accepting what we call the banking system. And of course, it was all predicated upon fear. You know, they use fear-mongering terms and stuff. In other words, you know, it was advertised to the minds of the people. What you should do is put your money in the bank and let your money work for you. Let it grow interest. That way, whenever you wanted to call your money, you would have put your money in a safe haven or a safe place that has a vault somewhere and it says bank up there where robbers and thieves could not break into your home and steal it. And of course, the American people, being as gullible as we are, is not only the American people, but the people all across the world. We believe them. Yet there was a certain small group of people like Old Hickory, Andrew Jackson, who did not believe one bit the bill of goods and the deceit and lies that they were selling. But the majority of the general populace bought it. And so then opens the banks. Well, the banks opened up, and what did they do? Well, the people was like, hey, man, that's a good idea. You know, I could take the money that I work for, the money that I labor for, and let me define money. Money was gold and silver. There was no Federal Reserve notes at this time in history that I'm speaking about. Even though there's been many different forms of what they call money being used, even all the way down to sticks. So I do understand it very well, but let's stick with what we call money. All right. So what we've had here is we've had the banks open, and they have taken the people's money, and they've wrote it down on a ledger. When you came in, everybody's happy. Hey, I get a secure place to put my money. So people would bring their silver and their gold coins. This is what these is. They would bring their silver and gold coins. They will put it in bank, and then in return for real money, they would give you what they would call a receipt, or they will give you a note. I have a 1 ounce silver eagle that has a $1 value on the back of it. 1 ounce silver eagle, $1 value on the back of it. So in turn, what they would do is they would give you a piece of paper for this particular money that you have. All right. So in your mind, you're thinking now, okay, good. I've got money in the bank, but they just got finished trading you something of value to something that is worthless. The only reason why you think that this has value is because the system who creates laws for you to abide by, but they themselves don't abide by them at all. They created laws, and they told you this was money, and then they opened up stores. People's opened up business and stores and stuff. That's the reason why governments all across the world hate anybody who tries to do any type of independent business or independent thinking or independent functioning for themselves. They hate it when people try to create wealth independent of the system, because they can't control you, they can't manipulate you, and they sure can't tax you half to death like they do now. See, they can't follow you. So what the bank would do was take all the money that the people would bring in. The people would leave out of the bank smiling, because look what they got. They have set up a system of laws to tell you that this is money right here. And of course, we think that this is money. So we go on our little merry way. We go to the town that we live in, and we buy goods or services with these paper notes. All right. Now, mind you, we still got in the back of our head, there's money in the bank right here. But if you go out and you buy something, well, some goods or services or whatever it may be with this paper note, now guess what? You have just purchased something of value with something of no value, and guess who still has the value back in the bank? Now, what you should have done was you should have kept your money in your own bank, in your own house, protected by Smith & Wesson, Kimber, Glock, and your finger, and a very good eyesight. That's what you should have done, because it'd have been a whole lot more protected there. See, at least then, all you had to worry about on your own homesteads was somebody coming and robbing you in your home. But now you got people who legally are robbing you, legally are plundering you. And because you don't understand what they understand and how things work, they continue to perpetuate this evil upon you. And when you leave out the bank with a pocket full of these Federal Reserve notes, you actually think you got money. And they are laughing because they are sitting in the bank. So by the time a week or two goes by, you done spent everything. So guess what? You've got to go back out and work, and you've got to go and get more of these, because that's what the employer and everybody's going to pay you in. They're going to pay you in Federal Reserve notes, or they're going to issue you more paper by either printing or writing you a personal check for your services or your labors. It's all, see, the paper. But guess who still has the real money? The bank does. The bank does. So a period of time goes by, you forget all about. You forget all about, because it's human nature that you even invested any money in the bank. As a matter of fact, your mind is psychologically working, because that's why I call this psychological warfare. Your mind is working against you because it's already got you thinking, man, I've traded this silver for this dollar, this Federal Reserve note, and now I can't go and get that no more. So it's wiped out of your mind. Nothing ever comes back up into your mind to tell you to say, you know what? Man, I've been out here working really hard, and I've been getting all this paper, and He was able to build his home, able to do all this right here. And wow, you know what? I think what I'll do is I'll take this dollar and I'll go back and get my silver back. You know why you don't ever think like that? Because now you think that this is money. So guess who is amassing wealth and storing wealth while you are losing it? That's the reason why Pastor Dowell tells you to get your money out of the banks. Well, so what does the system do? The system uses now, in modern day terms, advertisements. They use advertisement and various forms of advertisement to condition your mind. And that's the reason why in the old days, of the old frontier days, that families were responsible for educating their children. So what did the system do? They created a public school system because they didn't want you people to be independent of the system. They didn't want you functioning by yourselves apart from the system. So they created public school system. They made the curriculum. They got the books. They wrote the form. They wrote everything about it. And guess what? Now your training or the way you think is totally controlled by the system. So now they know how you're going to function. They know clearly how you're going to function. That's why I tell you that a jury trial is a joke here in America today. It's pretty much not going to do you any good because you got a people who have been mind numbed by TV. Who have been advertised half to death because it's easier to sit down in front of a one-eyed monster called a TV and then get fed. It's easier to drive down the road in your car and have a radio in there, and all this information is continually coming into your mind, and you're in the receive mode 100%. Because you have not learned how to function right from the first time you come out of your mother's womb up until this point, because everything has been advertised to you. Your whole value system, your morals, everything has been shaped by what it comes into your eyes and what comes into your ears. And this is the reason why I'm big on reading, because we have raised a society that does not like to read, period, point blank. And because we don't read independent of what the system and trained us and stuff, we function perfectly after the way that they want us to function. And so we've been trained well. So the sheep are in the cattle trough, and whatever the system wants to feed us, we eat it. And we say, "Ma," and we thank them for it too. And because, and you know, once we leave the cattle trough, we go out in the field, we have this crazy idea that we're in green pastures and we are free. But the truth is, you're not free at all, because they have played reverse psychology on your mind, and they have used the very system to shape your mind, and they know how you're going to respond. They know how you're going to react. They know how you're going to think, and they know how you're going to function. So when somebody like me raises up and comes and tell you, "Hey, sheep, wake up, what do you think you're doing? You don't need to be going away getting fed." What do? You protect the system that is plundering you, that is robbing you, that is creating all these evils upon you. That's what you do. And then you view people like me, as well as the other people who are informed, who have woken up out of the matrix, as if we are evil ourselves. I tell you, boy, they have done a good job in it. Huh? So without realizing any of this, this is what's happened. And not only that, when you've had the people, every one of them get killed off by the banking system, who are trying their best to wake up the people, to support the people so the people can understand what's really truly going on. The people who actually protect the system. So you got these people on CNBC, Fox Business, all of them been trained by the system. So they fight hard against people like Peter Schiff. They fight hard against people like Ron Paul. They fight hard about people who continually keep telling you that we need to return to sound money. They don't want you to return to sound money. You know why? Because this is what will happen. If the sheep wake up, that means that they're going to realize that this thing is not money, especially when they created the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. You had a bunch of politicians, while on Christmas break, you had a bunch of politicians who voluntarily sold your country down the tubes to the bankers. And the bankers has used money that you have worked for and you have bought in through mining, and they're giving you these worthless pieces of paper. And you know what they've done? They have used this to finance, fund political campaigns. They have used this to fund wars. They have used this for building projects. That's the reason why when you go in these cities, what are some of the most magnificent brilliant design buildings that you see in the cities. And the biggest and the largest, they are the banks. You know why? Because they have all the wealth. They have real true money, and you don't have anything. So the system has created laws to protect the banks, because now they are submitted to them because they have no real money, because it's all been given to the banks. So you know what they do? Every time you bring in $1, they have laws on the book that says, you know what? You bring in $1, now I can loan up to 100 times that amount. You bring in $1, you put it in the bank, they can loan up to 100 times that amount. And then not only that, over a period of time, they can also charge you interest for using the money that you've gotten a loan for. See, they'll charge you more interest. So now not only do you have to pay the principal of whatever you function, whatever you purchase, whether it be a house, a car, or whatever, not only do you have to pay for it, but then you have to pay interest on that money because you borrowed it. And guess whose money is still sitting in the bank that you've forgotten all about all this time? So now the banks, what they do is they create book entries. So you ever notice that whenever you buy a car, buy something of a lot of money, or it has some type of what they call financial their asset, when really truly it's a liability. You ever notice that the bank, what they do is that the banking officer would take a piece of paper, he'd go write it in on a ledger after they check your credit to see if you so-called any good. They'll take it over to the teller, and the teller will key in the amount into your account. And you notice, you know what? You never saw any of this or this. But then when you go and check your account, whether it be at an ATM machine and stuff, you go, wow, I got money. That's called fractional reserve banking. They were able to take the money that other people have placed in the bank, loan up to 100 times of the amount of the money that is originally in the bank, and then charge the people interest, and that's how the banks continually to keep getting richer. And you know what? They keep amassing all of this wealth because you know what? The people have forgotten, because the system has trained them in the paper, whether it be CDs, IRAs, mutual funds, treasury bills, bonds. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever at all, because they know it is totally out of your mind what real money is. And they know you're not going to call it. But then when you get somebody like myself, Max Kaiser, J. Snips 4, Peter Schiff, Ron Paul, and all these other people out here that are talking, Bob Chapman, SGT, you get all these people out here that are talking and trying to tell you to return back to sound money. When Max Kaiser makes a campaign and says, you know what, buy silver, crash JP Morgan, he knows full well what he's talking about, because you know what he's saying? He's saying what you need to do is go buy silver, because then you're taking money out of the bankers' pockets, because ultimately that's what everything is going to default back to. It's going to default back to sound money, because in the history of fiat currency, it has all ran its course. It makes no difference if it's dollars or if it's Canadian. It's got these nice pretty little colors on it and stuff. It's all trash. Every bit of it is. And this is tangible and real assets. It's pretty sad, isn't it? Are you upset? Are you mad yet? Well, I got just a little bit more. So now they have gotten you believing that when you go get paid, you get a piece of paper. And you go to the bank and they give you Federal Reserve notes. And when you go to the store, buy goods and service, you got a bunch of ironclad. That's what this is. I got quarters, nickels, and dimes and pennies, which none of them have no value at all, really. They're ironclad. Because you know why? They've taken away the real quarters, the real half dollars, and the real dimes that have value. They have 90% silver in it. They stripped it all out of the system, and they made it illegal for people to even have this. Isn't that something? So now, boy, the sheep is still in the cattle trough, ain't they? Getting fed a bill of goods by the system. And there's still people out there that are hollering like me, trying to wake up, wake up, wake up. But the system has people who are nice and polished looking. They got these Barbie dolls that set up on CNBC, Fox Business, and all these other financial networks, Bloomberg and stuff. And these pretty dolly looking women get up there and the men get mesmerized and stuff, and they hear these voices and stuff. Ooh, and you've been corrupted by flatteries. That's what you've been. And so people still thinking that they understanding what money is all about. So that's the reason why when I say get your money out of the bank, I don't mean just go to the bank and go get out another book entry or nothing but a bunch of Federal Reserve notes. I mean, go get your money out of the bank. Take this money out of the bank. Find a resource to where you can go and buy some sound money, i.e. silver or gold. Trade this junk back for this right here. Silver, real money, and gold. Get it out of the banker's hand so you can amass wealth for not only yourself, but your children's children. That's how you do it. Well, we've been sold a bill of goods. We got paper fiat currency. We got ironclad slugs. And we all say we got money. Why? Because we can purchase goods and services with it. Now, you know, a crazy thing is taking place. This is a 1 ounce silver eagle. 1 ounce silver eagle. This is what this is. And it has a $1 value printed on the back of it. Meaning you can redeem this for $1. Something is taking place though. Today, this 1 ounce silver eagle, it takes $45 in order to purchase one of these. Do you know what's happening? Are you beginning to understand and see what's taking place? Wow. I mean, I have 2 stacks of 20 right here. And I suppose that if I could just open up this stack right here and then take out 1, 2, 3, 4, take out 5 more. We got, look, now look what we got. We got 45 eagles. $1. That, you know, $1 value, 45. Now you tell me what's going on. If it takes one of these and it has a $1 value printed on it, but it takes 45 of these that has the money, you know, the numbers printed on it, 45 of these to buy one of these, which one has purchasing power and which one is really gaining in wealth, which one is real money and which one is declining and which one is no good? I mean, I thought 45 of these for one of these. Suppose if we still had a 1-to-1 ratio, I wonder how much. Now, mind you, this is $45. So if we had, you do the math. So if you take 45 of these 1 ounce silver eagles right here, and you go to the bank today with this $45. Say, I like to buy 45 1 ounce silver eagles. That's what I like to do. And I want 45. It says $1 on the back of it. Fine silver. I want 45 of them. See what happens. I'm just going to estimate because I didn't do the calculations before I sit down. But I'm sure that this one roll right here is worth anywhere between $850 to $900. So I'm sitting here looking at just about at $2,000. And every coin has a $1 value printed on the back of it. That's 45 of them. For 45 of these. Are you sick in your stomach yet? Well, now our country has no options. The only option that they have, because nobody will loan us money because it's a debt-based system. They have no money. So now what do? They keep continuing to print more and more of these. Pretty soon, what's going to happen, this $100 bill is going to take one of these to purchase one of these. That's letting you know that this continually is being devalued. So you people out there that play in the stock market and stuff, and these bankers are actually keeping the interest rates low on purpose, you're in trouble. You're in some very serious trouble. And you people continue to keep functioning out this system not only you going to remain broke, you're going to be dead broke. Because if the banker has all the money, they're going to finance the people who will support them. And that's how wars are either won or lost by whoever has the most money. Because if you don't have the money, you cannot supply the ground forces, the soldiers, with the amount of money they need in order to accomplish the mission. That's the reason why that the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. That's the reason why Pastor Dowell continues to keep talking about money, because it's necessary. And I know that if I don't get on here and do something trying to wake you people up, I know that your mega churches and your pastors who you keep going and giving all of your money to, they ain't going to do nothing for you whatsoever at all. I guarantee they're not preparing you for not only this upcoming economic collapse, but they're not preparing you nor your family for what's getting ready to come down the pike in the future. So when I tell you get your money out of the bank, what better bank could you have but a homestead, and be able to have your bank protected by bearing arms on your own land, and let somebody trespass on your own land? You protect what you got. Now, they want to sit down at your table, want something to eat, feed them. But if they want to come and steal from you, then you put something on them. And that's the truth. And that's the truth straight away. I hope some way, somehow, that I have been able to help do my part to wake you up. I hope you're mad. And I hope that you're seriously upset. So when Pastor Dowell tells you, get your money out of the bank, you take that false piece of trash that's pretty much going to be good for nothing but kindling, and go and get your money back from the international bankers. That's the reason why people like Old Hickory fought these boogers. And they try their best to keep these snakes and these jackals out of our country and out of your back pocket. But then we got other people like your politicians of today who protect the banking system, who continually keep deceiving you through advertising because you will not read any books. And that's why I continue to keep saying that we have been dumbed down in this country to an unprecedented level, to now that I'm informed and I'm listening to these people talking, and I'm hearing these people saying the same thing that these people who have trained them say, and you actually think that you're functioning after intelligence. It is just sad, isn't it? I know that only a few are going to hear, but just like in the movie Braveheart, the majority of the people are going to side with Longshanks, but then the majority of people are going to be with William Wallace. They're going to be lions. They're going to protect themselves. So get independent of the system. If you're independent of it, then you don't have to be like a sheep and go get corralled and then allow them to feed you whatever they want. I'm a voice crying in the wilderness, trying to wake up anybody who has the ability to hear. Pass this along. I hope that you can use this, whether it be in your meetings, in your churches. I try my best to keep this as simple as possible. I try not to use big financial terms. I try not to use big gigantic words. I'm trying to talk to the people who actually go out there and they get some of these on their hands. They're called calluses. They work really, really, truly hard only to get paid a bunch of junk. Wake up. The king is coming.